afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's ASFP seminar. Michael Hicks from Onetrace is going to be running today's presentation on leveraging technology to raise standards in fire protection. Michael, say hello to everyone that's online.
Good afternoon, everyone.
We've got 73 participants on at the moment, and you can see the numbers growing by the minute. My name is Chris Sharman. I'm the ASFP's training manager. I'm here simply to introduce today's webinar. My colleague Andy and myself will be monitoring questions as they come in on the chat and via the Q&A button that you'll see at the bottom of the screen. If you wish to ask us any questions, we'll be sorting through those. There will be a number of polls. There'll be 3 poll questions asked during the seminar today. And we'd like your feedback. Obviously, it helps us and it helps Michael to make sure that everyone's, first of all, engaged with with the topic that we're discussing, and also to give us a feel of where Michael needs to be going with the next parts of his presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to turn you over to Michael Hicks from Onetrace to begin today's webinar presentation. Michael, over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. And yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. As Chris said, my name is Michael Hicks and I look after the business development efforts here at Onetrace. So it's fantastic to have this opportunity to speak with you. And I'd like to say a big thank you to the ASFP for providing us with the opportunity. They're doing a really good job in supporting the industry, and we've collaborated with them now on a couple of events. And it's really great to work with them. So shout out to Chris and Andy and everybody else in the ASFP team. So let's start. So there are approximately 150,000 reported fires in the UK every year. I think this really highlights the importance of effective fire protection in our buildings and why we need to constantly look for ways to improve the standards of fire protection. Now, there's been extensive discussion about raising standards across the industry, with much debate on where the industry needs to get to and where it needs to improve. But from the conversations we're having here at Onetrace with both main contractors and subcontractors, there seems to be a bit of a gap between what needs to happen on the ground and what practical steps contractors can take to support their businesses. This is information that helps them to raise standards on a day-to-day basis, helps them to ensure they're compliant with legislation and third-party certifications, and shows them how they can work more efficiently to scale up their businesses. Over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of new government legislation come into effect, and we know there's a lot more coming out this year as well. And we know that there has been an emphasis on creating a golden thread of information and the transferring of this information across the whole life cycle of a building. And this is where we believe that technology is going to have a strong role to play in supporting the new legislation and raising standards by providing transparency and accountability across all fire protection projects. But where else can technology support fire protection projects? And how can it be utilized to help contractors and main contractors to remove some of the day-to-day stresses they face and help them work more efficiently, raising standards to overall meet compliance? This is going to be the focus of my session today, and I'm hoping to give you an introduction into how you can best leverage the power of technology. And by the end of the session, my aim is to have you leaving here thinking much differently about how tech can support your business. I'm hoping you will start to see technology and software as an enabler for your business, hoping that you'll start thinking that you can work smarter in certain ways by utilizing standardization and automation to raise compliance and really make your organization much more efficient. I want you to start thinking about your output as a company, so you can deliver the best results for your business and for your clients through reports that really make your organization more professional and help you win new business. And finally, I want you to start thinking about how you can build better trust between you and your clients by being fully transparent throughout all of your projects. But first, a little bit about Onetrace, who we are and why we believe we're the right people to talk on this subject today. So Onetrace is a software company, and we provide contractors with one system to capture, monitor, review, and report on all work being conducted on site in real time, allowing you to deliver accurate proof of work to your clients by providing complete traceability and transparency in line with the golden thread of information. This is helping to ensure compliance with both legislation and third-party certification. We are rapidly becoming one of the leading providers of software for the fire protection industry across the UK and internationally. And this growth really comes from us priding ourselves on delivering the best user experience for our clients. Be that through the simplicity of our software, through to our excellent customer service team, who really do support our clients through every step of their journey with implementing technology. The company's been built by software developers, but it's run by construction experts, which means we take a technology-first approach to construction, where we continuously invest in innovation in everything that we do. Basically, we love building cool products that really do make an impact in our clients' day-to-day lives. Okay, so the title of the session is Leveraging Technology to Raise Standards in Fire Protection. Well, what do we actually mean by raising standards? So I wanted to throw this out to you guys now, first through a poll, which should be popping up on your screen in a second. I can't actually see the poll, so I'm not sure if you guys are seeing that or not. Is that poll coming up, Chris? Here we go. So yes, what do rating standards mean to you? You can just vote on this poll, get your feedback. Okay, so yeah, all of the above. So yeah, completely agree with that. So thank you for voting on that. So from our point of view, totally agree, it's all the points above. But for the focus of this session today, we're going to look at the goal of raising standards is by improving the quality of installation through better data capture, and also by improving communication between stakeholders involved in fire protection projects. Now, by improving the quality of data captured, we can ensure the compliance with legislation and third-party certifications, while also improving transparency and accountability throughout project lifecycle. And through better communication between stakeholders, this leads to more efficient and effective decision-making, which can save time and money and ultimately lead to a more successful outcome for all parties involved in your projects. And by leveraging technology to help with this, we can create more efficient and effective workflows that benefit everyone involved in fire protection projects, in turn, improving installations and raising standards. So in the legislation that we've seen since Grenfell, there's been a focus on improving fire protection standards, and it's also becoming increasingly clear that accurate data and communication are going to be crucial for success. One of the key developments, which I'm sure everyone is aware of, is this introduction of the golden thread of information, which requires that information be captured and transferred throughout a building's lifecycle. But additionally, we now also have the new regulatory framework, which introduces 3 gateways that serve as decision points during the design and construction phases of a project. And to pass successfully through these gateways, it's going to be essential to have accurate data that needs to be recorded by competent individuals. We are also seeing that building owners and responsible persons now bear much greater responsibility for collating this information and ensuring that it's properly recorded on site. So this places a premium on effective communication and reliable data capture. And by adopting technology to improve data quality and communication, we will raise standards and meet the demands of this new regulatory landscape. For example, technology can be used to automate data capture. It can reduce the risk of errors. It's going to help you improve collaboration between the various different stakeholders. And ultimately, this can help ensure that buildings are much safer and much more secure for everybody who uses them. So the legislation specifically calls out fire doors with the requirement to quarterly check communal area fire doors. But we know that fire safety goes beyond that of just fire doors and fire stopping. When it comes to fire safety in buildings, one of the most critical factors is obviously the implementation of compartmentation, which involves a variety of elements, each of which must be installed and operating properly to ensure that any potential fire is contained. This means it's essential that all of this information is carefully captured and recorded. Now, this is going to include additional materials beyond the fire doors, beyond the fire stopping, such as cavity barriers, fire dampers, fireboards, fire stop slabs, soffit slabs, to name just a few. I'm sure there's many more as well. And it is essential that as much as an effort there is in recording fire doors, fire stopping, the same amount of effort needs to be put into recording the information for all these additional materials as well. So to highlight the importance of capturing the entire compartmentation, let's think about a fire door. So while it can be correctly installed and it can be accredited, any breach or hole or crack anywhere in the compartmentation wall is going to render the entire structure defective and then that fire door basically pointless. Therefore, capturing the full compartmentation as a whole instead of only individual components is going to be essential. But I appreciate this, however, presents several challenges as it may require trades that may not have considered fire safety before to do so. So, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and many others may not be aware of the new legislation, and they will need to be educated so that they can understand how to install these materials accurately and capture the required installation data. But this seems to be a problem across the entire industry. Well, there seems to be a lack of knowledge and understanding through the entire supply chain about what data needs to be captured, from the main contractor to the subcontractor to the site managers and the operatives. We know from our experience that a number of main contractors do not currently stipulate what information they want to be captured and reported to them on project completion. And from speaking to our clients, it's very clear that this is because the contractors themselves do not have a full understanding of what needs to be recorded. On top of this, we also know that operatives do not always know what they need to be capturing. And there is no standardization between the data that's being captured and the data that is being reported on. I attended the ASFP regional event 2 weeks ago where Onetrace was the headline sponsor, and one of the speakers there said that capturing and recording needs to be seen as part of your quality assurance process, and we honestly couldn't agree with that more. Because what we're trying to move towards is a much higher standard of installations and data recording. Now, as a contractor, if you're running your own business, understanding what information that needs to be captured and how to capture it can be quite a daunting task. And this is really where third-party accreditations and their auditing processes are a valuable resource for the industry. And they really do provide good guidance on what information needs to be captured based on their audits. However, it is important to note that these guidelines may not capture the full picture of compartmentation, instead focusing on individual elements of the compartmentation wall. And these guidelines may not provide clear instructions on how to organize and record the information in a way that is efficient and effective for you as a business. As a result, we see that contractors have to go out and be more proactive in seeking out additional resources and strategies to ensure they're capturing and recording all the necessary information accurately. One of the biggest mistakes we find is that contractors underestimate this importance of structuring their data in an organized way. And we really can't emphasize enough how valuable it is to invest the time before each project to really think about the best process to follow. Without having a plan, you really do run the risk of having to collate a large amount of data through multiple systems with no structure in place, which in turn is going to lead to future headaches for your business, and it's potentially going to cost you valuable time and money. And as this quote says, it's like building a house without a solid foundation, it will eventually collapse. So let's take a moment to imagine a project where you're working on, say, a large block of apartments. You're managing a team of operatives who are responsible for capturing and recording their work. Now picture them, they're out jotting down notes on paper drawings, they're taking photos on their phones, they're sending messages back and forth over WhatsApp. Maybe they're uploading documents to Dropbox, or they could even be putting documents on USB sticks, all in an effort to record and document the work that's being done. Then once you're back on site, you're faced with this daunting task of having to sift through all this information in multiple formats, hoping that it was captured accurately and completely. It's going to be a process that is prone to error, and it's going to be difficult to have confidence in that data that has been collected in the right way. Then you go and you submit that post-project report, And after you've submitted it, your client can suddenly request specific information about a certain aspect of the project. Now, this may be a common experience for some of you, and it's definitely something that we hear about a lot at Onetrace. And I'm sure you can imagine that it would be an absolute nightmare to try and find that information and be confident that it's accurate if your project data is not structured correctly. Now, this is not just a matter of good standards, it is also a matter of good practice. And wasting your time trying to retrieve information that should have been captured and recorded properly can prevent you from investing your time more efficiently elsewhere in your business. You never really do know when a building's information is going to be needed, so it really does pay to take that time and think about the structure of your data and how you can ensure it's securely documented and in an easily accessible format. Your whole team needs to be working off the same page. And I haven't even mentioned the risk of losing that data when it's not structured. So this would then put you against the new legislation and the golden thread of information as well. Okay, so another poll now. So I just want to see if any of you out there are actually doing this at the moment. Are you thinking about how you structure your data before your projects? Okay, that's good. Well, it's good to hear that you are thinking about that. Some people aren't, and some people would like to, but don't have the time. Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully everyone's going to find the next bit of information useful for you. Okay, so what should you be capturing? So we would suggest that you start with the locations. So ideally, your client will be providing you with detailed drawings of the site that you can then use to map out the work needing to be carried out. But even if you haven't got a drawing, which I know is generally the norm for remedial work, you should still be thinking about locations. So as an example, if we're again working on the block of flats or block of apartments, to get to a room, you most likely want to structure your data by blocks, by levels, by zones, and then by either room name or number. You'll then want a reference number that ties to that specific location. This will allow for easy data retrieval at a later date, as you'll have an organized structure to your data. And then from this pinpoint location, every bit of information about the job at hand will be tied together. This is going to include what the job was, who carried out the work, timestamp for when the work was completed, what materials were used, all the relevant fire safety information, and then any sign-off from management, quality control, or even a client. And this is going to provide a complete full picture of the work in line with the golden thread of information. And this is just a prime example of where leveraging technology can be a game changer for you organizing your data capture. With the right tools, you can structure and categorize this data quickly and easily. This is also where standardization can make a significant impact. By creating standardized forms that can be saved as templates, you can ensure consistency in capturing information repeatedly. As a result, as either a business owner or a manager, you will then be able to enforce compliance among your team and improve your fire compliance procedures. This is going to save you valuable time and effort that you could utilize elsewhere in your business. And when I say standardized forms, what I'm referring to is the forms used by your operatives to collect the required information during installation or inspection. So by utilizing technology to build these forms, you have the power to standardize that method of recording the information in a consistent manner, regardless of the individual collecting the data. And one advantage of this is that you can collect that information in a variety of different inputs. And I just want to run through a few of those inputs and the ones that we would recommend that you should be taking advantage of. So firstly, photographic evidence. Now, I know this may sound obvious, but capturing photos is an essential component of documenting project progress and ensuring quality assurance. By taking photos before, during, and after a task, your operatives can provide a visual record of the work they have carried out. This is going to help you monitor the quality of the work on an ongoing basis without the need to visit site in person. They can also serve as a form of proof that the work has been carried out to a high standard. And if there are any disputes or questions about the quality of the work, you can obviously refer back to them as evidence that the work was done correctly. They can also help you identify any issues or defects that may need to be addressed, and they're going to allow you to take action quickly and prevent any potential problems from becoming more serious. So overall, they're really going to provide you with a valuable tool for managing your projects and ensuring that work is done to a high standard. Next is drop-down menus. So these really provide several benefits for you. So firstly, they can help ensure consistency and accuracy in the information being recorded. If you predefine the options that are available in the drop-down menu, you're going to eliminate the potential for any human error when inputting your data. This means that the information being captured is more reliable and can be used for analysis and reporting with much greater confidence. They can also help speed up data entry and reduce the time taken to complete these forms. And with this predefined set of options to choose from, it's going to eliminate the need for operatives to type out any lengthy descriptions or details, which can generally be quite time-consuming and prone to errors. This is going to lead to much greater efficiency in your data capture process and allow you to spend more time on other important tasks. And then finally, they can help standardize terminology and ensure consistent use of language across your team. So by using that same drop-down options across all operatives, it's going to ensure that everyone is using the same terminology to describe different elements or issues. And this again can help reduce confusion. It's going to ensure that everyone is on the same page when it comes to understanding the data that's being collected. Yes or no questions, again, another obvious one, but this really does help eliminate ambiguity or uncertainty in responses, as there is literally no room for interpretation or confusion over what is meant by a particular response. So this is just going to lead to more accurate and reliable data capture. And it's also going to be useful for ensuring compliance with regulations or standards, as they can be designed to prompt the operative to select a certain option based on specific requirements. Now, numerical fields, these are all about you sort of inputting material measurements or costs, but the real value of this is that what you can do with that information. So you'll easily be able to put off this data into a spreadsheet, perform your own calculations to generate useful insights into maybe how much material you're using, how much materials are costing you, your rates for your operatives. So it's going to give you really good insights into how your project's performing and how you can make them more efficient and optimize them as well. You should also be looking at attachments. So attachments on these standardized forms, so if you attach them such as like instructions or specifications, they're going to really benefit your operatives who are carrying out the work. So by having these documents easily accessible and attached to the form, they're going to have a point of reference that they can consult when they carry out the work. So this is going to ensure that the work is done correctly, it's done efficiently, and it really does reduce the likelihood of errors or mistakes being made. It also is going to help with quality assurance and compliance because you're providing clear instructions which ensures that the work is done to the required standard in line with your third-party certification. And they can also be useful for future reference because if you are having any issues or there are any questions that arise after the work is completed, these documents that are attached to the form can provide a point of reference for addressing those issues or answering those questions. And then finally, you should be really thinking about collecting signatures as well. So by adding signatures to your form, this is going to allow for accountability and traceability of all work being carried out. So having either your managers, your QA, or even a client sign off on the form, it shows they have reviewed and approved the work that was done. So this can be useful in the event of any disputes or issues that may arise later on. But it's also going to improve the communication between your managers, between your operatives, and between your clients. Because any issues or concerns that does arise from the work that was done, the manager or the client can provide feedback on the form so that any issues can be addressed straight away. And finally, it can also serve as a reminder for what work has been completed and approved. So you're ensuring that everyone involved is on the same page and has a clear understanding of what work has been done and what still needs to be done. I hope they are useful to you, and maybe you're using some of them already in your work. But I think it is really important to recognize the value of capturing data in this sort of structured and organized way. and leveraging these variety of different inputs within one singular form, and ultimately standardizing these forms for every single install or inspection that you're carrying out. Whilst doing so, this is going to greatly improve your business's efficiency and accuracy when recording information. And as I said already, your whole team will be working from the same page. Now, I know, well, I would imagine that that contractors would probably get quite nervous when a third-party accreditation audit is coming up. And I can definitely understand why if your data is not organized in an easily accessible format. But hopefully, if you do follow this process that I've provided, you'll make those audits a breeze, because you're going to have all the required information to hand at the click of a button. So we've looked at capturing your data and how you should go about that and how you should structure it. But what about how maintaining the quality of that data? So this can be quite challenging when you're managing a large team of operatives working across multiple different projects, or maybe you're a main contractor and you've got multiple subcontractors working across different projects as well. It's going to be difficult to ensure that they are all accurately capturing the information that you need for the project. And this is really another area where technology and leveraging technology can, by including mandatory fields within your standardized forms, can help you out. Mandatory fields really do play a critical role in ensuring that your operatives or your subcontractors collect all the necessary information during an install or inspection. So by making certain fields mandatory on your forms, you're going to provide clear direction to your operatives on site and guide them through their tasks, even in the presence of distractions or other competing priorities on site. They're also going to help prevent incomplete or inaccurate submissions, because you're basically mandating them to record all the required information before they can submit their work. So this ensures that no critical information is missed and all necessary data is captured in a consistent and reliable manner. So this should then give you greater confidence that all the information required for compliance is captured and recorded accurately. And this can help you to avoid costly mistakes or oversights, and it's going to ensure that your business is operating again in line with legislation, and overall it's going to help raise standards across the industry. An additional benefit of software and everything being hosted in the cloud is also that it allows you to access your data anytime, anywhere. So you can view in real time your project progress as it happens. So as your operatives are out on site, they're recording information, you'll be able to see that happening in real time. This is going to give you the ability to view the submitted work from your ops centrally back in the office without having to travel down to site. So you can log in, you can see photos of a completed, say, fire door installation, and you can have the ability to approve or reject the work there and then. So you're really taking control of the quality of work your company is producing, but you're also spreading the responsibility among the various different stakeholders involved in that project. This creates transparency, this creates accountability throughout your projects, completely in line with the golden thread of information. Okay, so we've spoken about the importance of structuring your data capture and how you can use technology to ensure the quality of your data capture. So now I want to look at how you can improve the communication between your stakeholders within your projects. So we've got another poll here. So let me know, have you experienced project delays due to changes in scope? I've got a feeling I know what everyone's going to say on this one. Okay, so yeah, it's quite common, it happens quite often. Okay, as expected. So, unexpected contract changes to the scope of work, otherwise known as variations, are, as you guys have just told me, very common in the construction industry. And as an industry, we really need to start moving away from these changes being made to the original scope of work without prior agreement or planning. These changes generally result in cost implications and project delays, and then they lead to disputes between clients and contractors. Now, if we can find ways to minimize and eliminate these changes, we can improve project outcomes and reduce these conflicts in the construction process. And in the words of Dame Judith Hackett, the mindset of doing things as cheaply as possible and passing on the responsibility for problems and shortcomings to others must stop. So let's take a look at how improving communication between stakeholders can help share responsibility across projects and in turn reduce the costs from unexpected disputes outside of this original scope of work. So by using technology to map out a detailed scope of work in each location with a cost build up to each element before commencing on site is going to greatly simplify your project management. This approach provides clear visibility of what work needs to be carried out, as well as a detailed list of materials required, helping to ensure that operatives are working within the scope of work. Using software to support you with this is going to offer you additional benefits as well, such as having all your information well organized and easy to access, as I outlined previously. This is going to allow your clients to see exactly what has been priced and included, as well as providing operatives with clear instructions on their task. By agreeing on the scope of work ahead of time, you're really going to eliminate any future disputes, as everything is going to be documented, everything is going to be agreed upon from the start. So your clients can then, as the project progresses, receive regular updates on how things are going. And if you add in signatures or approvals into your process, they can even sign off on the completed work in real time. This level of transparency and this level of documented accountability is going to improve communication and is going to build trust across your entire project, which ultimately leads to a much smoother and a much more successful project. It's going to save you time, it's going to save you time on program, it's going to remove unexpected costs, and it's going to reduce your day-to-day headaches. So you need to start working smarter and not harder. So we've looked at the input, how you should be structuring your data, how you should be capturing that data, how you should be ensuring the quality of that data. But what about your output? So what do you do with that data at the end of a project, and how do you help deliver success for your business, for your clients with that data? And we believe that improving the output of your data should really be seen as just as important as capturing it accurately. And this is where technology can support your business in raising the quality of your output through detailed reports. Not only will this then help raise standards, but it's also going to present your business in a much more professional manner to your clients. Now, while, as I mentioned earlier, clients may not always specify what they want on a project, on a final project report, it should still be seen as a crucial element of the project by both the contractor and the client. Having these sort of detailed, structured reports is going to help ensure compliance with the transfer of data at the end of a project, as outlined by the golden thread of information. And there are really two main benefits to providing your clients with detailed, structured reports. Firstly, it's going to eliminate the need for any follow-up questions or requests, saving both the contractor and the client time and effort. And secondly, it's going to present your business in a more professional way. So it's going to encourage feedback on the quality of your work, and hopefully it's going to potentially lead to you having new business opportunities. And by implementing a single system that ties all of your data together, it can allow you to generate that report instantly at a click of a button. So you will then be able to provide your clients with all the required information about a project in an easy to understand, easy to digest format, raising the quality of your output and overall increasing standards across your projects and then also the industry as a whole. So I hope you found that useful, and I hope you can take some benefits from that information I've shared with you today. So we've explored the ways in which technology can enhance the quality of your data capture and also then improve the communication among project stakeholders. So I hope that you see this as technology can now be an enabler for your business, and it can really streamline your processes and ultimately help you achieve much greater success. But what should you be looking for from a software solution? So this can be quite challenging if you've never had to do this before, you never looked for software. And I know there are a number of options out there on the market today. So if you haven't got much experience in this area, then you may not know what you should be looking for from when choosing a software. So from what I've spoken about today, I'm going to suggest just a couple of factors that I would recommend you keep in mind when sort of evaluating different software providers. So firstly, you should be looking for a system that is simple to understand and simple to use. And by this, I mean, find a system that works for you and not one where you have to adapt your workflows or work in a way that is uncomfortable to you. Secondly, I think you should be looking for a system that lets you collate and structure your data in an organized way, makes your data retrieval very simple. So as I've stated today, it lets you do everything I've told you today. Also, you can pull that information out very quickly. And then finally, you should be looking for flexibility. So your construction projects are fluid, they can change quickly, and you need a system that is able to adapt, that can be flexible and can mirror your workloads. So they would be my 3 recommendations when looking for software, so just keep them in mind. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap. So I'm hoping now that you will start seeing, after what I've told you, that technology can be an enabler for your business. I hope that you can also see the benefits of standardization and automation that are going to help you ensure quality of data capture and overall raise the efficiency of your business. I hope you start thinking about the importance of the output of your data as well, by using reports to make your business look more professional. Hopefully that will lead to you winning new business as well. And I hope you see the benefit of building better trust between you and your clients by being much more transparent in your projects and giving your clients access and visibility of everything that's happening in the project progress as well. So, as I mentioned at the start, there are on average 150,000 fires in the UK every year. We know we can't stop every fire, but our vision at Onetrace is to build a world where every building is at least protected against fire. And we're going to do that by raising standards and ensuring compliance in the fire protection industry by connecting contractors and software to capture, document, and streamline their fire protection reports. That is all from me. I hope you found that useful. I'd like to thank you all for your time. And hopefully you've picked up some information that you can go away and implement in your day-to-day work. I'd also like to say big thank you again to the ASFP for giving us the opportunity. And if you'd like to learn more about Onetrace and whether we can support your business, then please do get in touch with myself or a member of the Onetrace team. So thank you very much, and I'll pass back over to Chris and Andy.
Hi, Michael. Thank you very much for that. Great presentation. We have got some questions that have come in. A couple of them I've answered on the text as we've gone through. There's certainly a couple here that bear discussion, and I'd like you to comment on those. The first one, I think, is a question that we can answer from Jerry Keane. It's, would a fire door installer need to be TRADA or BWS certified to ensure compliant installation and record keeping? Now, as I understand from the regulatory landscape as it stands, there's no formal legal requirement for anyone to have a third-party accreditation. However, it is definitely seen as best practice. And certainly for clients who manage buildings, if you are responsible for the maintenance of the fire doors and the fire safety of those doors in your building, you would want to be going for the best practice possible. And I'm sure, obviously, Michael, you're on saying part of that will be also logging the data and the maintenance and the installations as they've been done. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So agree. Definitely go for someone with third-party certification, and as a contractor is what you want to be aiming for yourselves. One for you here, Michael, from Terry Downs. Is there a limit to the size of attachments to be uploaded? For individual seal details, for example.
No, from our side, no, there's no limits on attachments.
Okay, very straightforward.
An easy one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. David Shaw, as a fire stopping installer, when the penetration's not compliant, i.e. services too close together, can Onetrace highlight this though to the client and main contractor? So if there are issues with the seal, is it something that you can put in as comment, for example, on the penetration detail?
Absolutely, yeah. You can feed back to your client through, as I mentioned, take photos of that non-compliance, and you can report that back and give your client access to view that and see the actual penetration not being compliant. So yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Got a question. Adam Beecroft talking about secondary legislation. Now, what I'm going to advise you, Adam, we actually have some previous webinars that you can access from the ASFP website and from via our YouTube channel, ASFP TV, and they actually cover the regulatory framework. So rather than going into it on this, please have a look at those. There's some from our regulatory officer, Niall Rowan, and he covers that in much better detail than I could give you right now. Okay, from Stephen McCormack, it's another one for you here, Michael. Can data easily be utilised or extracted from Revit or BIM and incorporated rather than manually input?
Yeah, so this is coming up a lot. We're hearing this a lot at the moment, sort of integrations with BIM and how we can input information from that. It's something we're looking at the moment. We're trying to understand how we can best set it up in Onetrace. So it's kind of a watch this space at the moment, but it's something we're exploring to really try and make that a seamless experience.
Excellent, thanks, Michael. Okay, from Mark Tebbett, what's the resolution of photographs? Can you read all the info clearly when zooming in?
Yeah, I mean, this is really just down to, I believe, the resolution of your camera on your phone. So how good your camera is going to affect that. So if you've got a good smartphone, then the resolution will be as good as your camera allows.
Yeah, as you were saying earlier, there's no limit on the file size that you can attach. So
yeah, Onetrace is not going to affect the actual, it's not going to affect the file itself.
Excellent. Okay, hope that answers your question, Mark. Emma, how can the society and fire industry ensure that occupants use better management skills, as software alone would not apply to all industries? Do you think more effective passive fire training should be made available for the end user? It depends on how you're defining the end user. Certainly, passive fire knowledge for the likes of fire risk assessors is important, because they're walking around a building looking at the risks attached for the occupants and taking into account the potential for unwanted rapid fire spread is a very important one. So certainly for those who are responsible in the management of the building, I would suggest that some level of passive fire protection training knowledge is important, but also their internal process of ensuring that when passive fireworks have been carried out and a system such as Onetrace or other systems are available, obviously I have to say that, when a system such as this has been utilised, that they know how to obtain the relevant information from that and interrogate that. It's no point having all of this information if you're not actually doing anything with it and people don't know how to use it. Hopefully that's answered that for you, Emma. Right. We've already had Robertson Group. We've already had this managing Revit content as well as 2D content. That is something you're working on. Yes, Michael? Yeah. Excellent. How is data collected? The data that's collected, how is it secured and protected?
So from our point of view, you're the only person that has access to your data. So if you're assigned to Onetrace, it's completely owned by you and it's completely protected. We use AWS servers, so we are fully compliant and have very secure servers located to protect your data. So yeah, but you own all your data, so it's completely protected and secured by yourselves, and we don't let anyone else have access to it. Okay,
and I'm sure if you want any more detail on that, you'll be able to contact Onetrace directly.
Absolutely.
Okay. From experience, Rob Page, this question's come from, are drawings scalable when a report is exported in a PDF format? Often it's difficult to distinguish location tag numbers when submitting a report to the client. I'm familiar with this concept, having worked on sites where we've got a lot of penetration seals that need to be dealt with, particularly in service risers. You may have a small area with multiple 8 or 10 penetrations through both the floor and wall. So having the ability to scale it up and actually print out your reports just showing that riser page, is that something that's possible?
So the issue here is when you export a report into PDF format, you're changing that PDF into a static content. So that you can't really change that. It's completely static, it's flat. So if you zoom in, you can't do that. But within Onetrace itself, if you're looking at a report, you can zoom in on the drawings and you will be able to see within the Onetrace system, the pins get smaller as you get zoomed in closer. So they are more spread out and you can see clearly between them.
Okay, hopefully that covers that answer off. Does Onetrace allow integration with 360 virtual reality capture, such as HoloBuilder or OpenSpace?
Not at the moment, no, but it's definitely something we're looking at and exploring. We've seen that come up at London Build last year, so it's something we're looking into.
Okay. Now, Stephen's asked a question about what sets Onetrace apart from competitors. For example, Hilti's similar app. I'd rather we don't go into commercial matters. This is, after all, a CPD. It's meant to be a bipartisan thing. I'm sure, so Stephen, if you'd like more information, you'll be able to contact Onetrace directly outside of this webinar. Back again from Robertson Group, I see right where that was going. We're talking about where data is stored. Is it purely in the UK or not? This has proven an issue with Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Justice in the recent past. So are your servers UK based?
Yes, they are.
Excellent. Okay, and again, if you require more information, please do contact Onetrace directly. Would the client have direct access through Onetrace?
Yes, you can give access to your clients. They will have a login and they can enter access the software. They can see the project and they basically be able to see whatever you want to show them within the project. So yeah, you can give them.
I'd imagine access. Much like similar systems that you control, whoever controls the project actually controls the access that others have. Okay.
Absolutely.
There are no more questions open at present. So unless something comes in, oh, here we go. Just as I'm saying that, is it limited to passive fire applications or can it be used for other systems?
So it's been designed in a way, it was originally designed for passive fire protection, but it's been designed in a pretty open way. And we have a number of clients working across multiple different trades in active fire, passive fire, and actually other trades completely outside of fire as well. So it's very flexible in that respect.
Excellent. Okay, hopefully that helps you out there, Stephen. And that is it for the Q&A session at the moment. A question that was asked earlier that I answered offline was if there's an attendance certificate for this session. There is. It will be for a single 1 hour CPD point, and those of you who have sat through the whole presentation, the whole webinar today, contact my colleague Andy Tyrrell, andy.tyrrell@asfp.org.uk, and he will arrange those for you to be sent out. We have a next webinar is scheduled for the 29th of May. As yet, our subject and our presenter are to be confirmed. However, if you keep an eye out for the ASFP's weekly newsletter, we'll be updating on that. And as soon as we have something, we will make it public. Just remains for me to say, Michael, thank you very much for today. And if anyone has any further information, could you give them a method to contact you, Michael?
Yeah, you can just go to our website and we've got all the information on there, or just contact us at hello@onetrace.app.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And that's it from us. Anything else to add, Andy?
No.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you all very much. Oh, you're most welcome, John. Okay. Take care, and we'll speak to you in a couple of months. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.